We visited yesterday a transit center, completely empty. Refugees are no longer coming back. Why? Because there are no services. There is nothing that they can access. There are less than 10 miles of paved roads in the whole South Sudan, and the size of South Sudan is more or less the size of Texas. How can you bring material from point A to point B when you don't have roads?
How many children does she have?
In the fighting, everybody left the town. It was completely emptied out. We came back here on June 18th, and there was nobody in town. It was empty. There wasn't even there was nothing left. There was really nobody showing up in the area for about a month.
Why wasn't anybody showing up?
Because they were still feeling insecure, you know, the fighting had not ended so long ago and the peace still had been signed, but it had to still be implemented, and we're still working on implementing it now. And the fighting was, you know, upsetting situation. A lot of people were displaced, and it's going to take a lot of time to get their confidence back and where they feel that it's safe enough to come back.
نرجعوا طوالي لما بلدنا يكونوا بعيدين بس ناس السلاحات دي يكونوا بعيدين علينا نقعدوا طوالي في بلدنا اللي بيحولنا شنو.
And in our trip around, we have seen places where a hand pump like this got stuck and stopped for weeks just because there were no spare parts or because there was no way to replace those spare parts.
One other issue about water is it's the women who have to spend long amounts of time waiting in lines to collect the water, and the amount of time they spend collecting water means they can't get involved in rebuilding other aspects of the community.
Water is there, but the problem is you go to the borehole in the morning around 5 o'clock, then you face your water at 8. So it takes actually a long time to wait for the queue until you get water.
I think if they don't have these water pumps, they rely on surface water or river water, which many times is also frequented by animals. There's a lot of cattle in the area. So you have a heavy fecal content in the water. Then you have microbes, amoebas, bacteria, and this really affects your under 5 children who have a spiraling acute watery diarrhea, which sometimes leads to death.
One of the points of conflict was the lack of access. So for instance, if you only had one water point, or worse, one pond, and the returnees were using that to get their water to live by, and at the same time, the nomads come through here and their cows go to that pond, they pollute the pond, or if there's only one hand pump, they monopolize the hand pump. We had been pressing about this issue actually since the end of 2007, trying to get funds through and to get implementers to work on this. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where you report on the situation, you say it's a conflict potential, people don't listen to you until you have a conflict.
we have in Baudit's primary school, elementary school. We have more than 900 children, 924 to be precise, and 12 teachers. Here on the left side we have 2 classrooms for 120, 130 children each with no desk whatsoever.
So these are the new latrines that have just been built?
Yeah, the ones that have been just dug, but not finished.
They've been dug, but they're not, there's no housing.
Yeah.
900 kids, 0 latrines.
There are no benches, there are no latrines, there's just one water point, and the school is not fenced. It means that there is a lot of insecurity. This is a major problem over here. Young children have been abducted by a tribe living in the area, can be sold to other people, and can be used, in terms of getting resources for the tribe.
And they use children, they sell them. It is like a business.
How many cows for a child?
We heard that each child, if the child is boy, then it will be more than 50 cows.
More than if it's a boy.
But if it is a girl, maybe 50. Work with the parent, and yet parent cannot do anything. Because if these men come with the gun and attack
So
them,
they take them right from the parents?
Yeah, and also kill parent.
Do you have any police coming here trying to protect the children?
No. We don't have.
In Jonglei State in Bor, we saw a place which is on the edge because of intertribal conflicts. We saw a place where there were risks of the south collapsing. Organizations need funding. That funding often comes from donor government. A lot of the donor government money has gone into very long-term development schemes. But if South Sudan collapses in the meantime because nothing is being directed towards the basics that allow people to restart their lives, then the development schemes are just not going to work. Humanitarian funding and funding for livelihoods and basic social services are essential at this time for South Sudan.
Now it's time to move to integration. It's time to move to expand services for returning people. It's time to build schools. It's time to increase water points. It's time to get primary health care up and running. We need to focus on that. The collapse of the peace agreement between the North and the South would have disastrous consequences for the whole Eastern African region.
We need to take actions to stop the North-South war happening again, and we need to take actions to stop the South collapsing from internal conflicts.
The concept here is for them to be able to restart a decent life, being able to send kids to school, being able to support themselves, having jobs, being able to live a decent life, a normal life like anybody else.
You